Together, let's weave a web of love that transcends the bounds of time and space, uniting hearts in a journey of universal connection.
The outside never decided who they are. So, they could walk full stride and explore the depths and dimensions of life that others never dare to touch, because most of the humanity is only concerned about what will happen to me. What will happen to me means what? Will I suffer? That's a question. The first and foremost thing, if you truly want to explore dimensions which we are referring to as another dimension of wisdom or knowing, is that first you must determine the nature of your experience. You have no fear of suffering. Only then, truly exploring human consciousness becomes a reality. Touching dimensions of intelligence, which gives access to the entire universe, becomes a possibility. I'm supposed to open up for questions. It's time you ask your questions, please.
The population I work with that are in the verge of homelessness or they're addicts, if I tell them that it is your intellect and it's your perception and this doesn't exist, they will laugh at me because it definitely exists.
Because it's the dumbest thing to say.
Right. So I wanted to know the spirituality that you teach, the spirituality that many gurus teach. How is it usable for someone that doesn't have food to eat and it's going to become homeless, and there's so many problems, especially in America? I mean, of course I teach them resiliency, it's a different fact, but every time I want to open my mouth and use some of your teachings, I have to step back.
Now, the first problem is that you believe in the teachings, because this is the problem with the entire world. They've been cultured in some belief or the other. This is what is significant about what is referred to as Sanatana Dharma or what is referred to as the Indian way of looking at things is, this is not a land of belief systems, this is a land of seekers. Never ever were anybody encouraged to believe anything. If you see anything that comes from that land, you will see it is all about questions, never about a belief system. If you enter an Indian home, in the same house, 5 different people are worshipping 25 different gods and goddesses. They're still not made up their minds, which is… and they have no problem, they'll never fight about it because it's a land of seeking. So, first mistake you make is you believe what I say. I am constantly reminding you, don't believe a goddamn thing that anybody says. But don't be foolish enough to disbelieve it either. All you have to do is experiment with it. Does it work or doesn't work? If it works, you keep it, otherwise rubbish it, what's the problem? Now, about somebody being hungry, somebody being homeless, somebody being in a war zones, all kinds of horrible things are happening on the planet. I am not ignorant of it. Anyway, you said living in a temple. I am not living in a temple. I am more of the world than you are. Every day, I want you to understand, I am running a volunteer organization with over 4,000 full-time volunteers and over 3 million part-time volunteers doing variety of work, huge projects, over a dozen businesses and the spiritual movement, okay? Now, I want you to understand, more things are going wrong with my life on a daily basis than anybody's life. Now, when a man is hungry, if you try to tell him, your intellect is the source of your problem, it's obscene. It's obscene, it's nothing short of that. I never spoke to hungry people and said, your intellect is the source of the problem. I'm talking to people who are bulging in so many ways. In their head and in their body, they're bulging. I'm only talking to that segment of the population. Those who are not fed well, I'm doing social projects with them with nourishment, education, health, all for free. Will I ever go and talk to a starved man in an Indian village and tell him, your intellect is the basis of all your problems? What makes you think that I'm that stupid? Do I look like that? So you also don't do that. This is for you. You need to understand this. There are a million problems on the planet. All these million problems are essentially because those who are reasonably well have never cared to reach out and do what needs to be done in the world. In many ways, they're making sure those people don't get it. Yes. In the year 2012, we have produced enough food for 18.2 billion people. We had only 6.6 billion people in that year. But still, 50% of the population is malnourished and hardly eaten anything. This is not because there is no food, this is because you and me have not cared, isn't it? So, is it true? Is it true nobody stabbed you in the last 25 years? Yes. But is it also true you're suffering various things of tension, stress, anxiety, this, that? Is it a product of your mind or somebody else poking you from outside? It is your reaction to the existential situation outside. Instead of doing what is needed, what you see is when you see something wrong happening or when you see some suffering or something comes your way, you decide to poke yourself. This is about incapacitating yourself. Instead of seeing when there is a problem, you need empowerment, not incapacitating yourself, isn't it? I'm talking about empowering you so that your damn intelligence functions for you, not against you. The moment your intelligence is working against you, no God in the universe is going to help you and can help you. Yes, if your intelligence is turned against you, you are a finished case. So I'm saying, first let your intelligence work for you. If it works for you, there are many miraculous things that you can do for all those people who have still not eaten properly, for whom basic things have not been taken care of. That's our business, because somehow we've landed in a place where you and me are at least eating well. Once we are in such a privilege, we must use our intelligence to see what is the best thing we can do in the world, not sit here and twist yourself out. I'm saying don't twist yourself out. If you are joyful, naturally you will do the best things you can do. If I meet you when you're very happy, will you be nice to me? No. I don't believe that. When you're very happy, if I meet you, I'm sure you're a wonderful person. But when you're depressed, when you're unhappy, when you're frustrated, if I meet you, you could be a nasty person. This is true with every human being, isn't it? So the first and foremost work that any human being has to do is that you make this into a pleasant piece of life, so that you naturally exude this pleasantness in every possible way. If this is feeling unpleasant and you tell this one to be pleasant, is it going to work? We are trying to fix the stomach-full people right now.
It was a pleasure listening to you, unbelievable. But my question is, what can I do so that I can acquire your skill of clarity? Honestly, candidly speaking, a very few people, are like you are. I'm sure you have heard this before. What makes you so secure from within and being so candid, honest, truthful, clarity of expression?
I didn't know that's a popular question. When we say clarity, that means… I want to tell you a joke, but it's a dirty joke, so I thought I'll skip that one. No, I'll come with something milder, you know. The problem with the human being right now is this. We have created a world, we have created education systems where we believe that human beings are essentially all wrong, or the creation is all wrong, or the source of creation or the creator is all wrong, and you gonna fix it. This is a convoluted idea. Instead of paying attention to life, we are coming up with philosophies and philosophies and philosophies. Philosophies are fantastic explanations to that which cannot be explained. If you want to know life, you must pay attention to life, isn't it? Right now, do you agree with me, madam, that this human mechanism is the most sophisticated machine on the planet? Do you agree with me? Are you a doctor? Yes. So, this is such a complex machine, this is the supercomputer, all right? I'm asking, have you bothered to read the user's manual? If you understand how this functions, you would know how to use it. Even if you take a simple gadget like a phone, the more you know about it, the better you can use it, isn't it so? You have definitely, coming from India, you've definitely been bombarded with this thing about realization, self-realization. Let me put it in very simple terms. What self-realization means is, first of all, what the word realization means. Realization is not an achievement, it is not an accomplishment, it is just realization. That means something that's always here, you just manage to see it now. That means you were stupid all your life, just now you saw it. You did not invent something new, you did not ramp yourself up to a mountain. No, you just saw the most obvious thing which was always here, you realized. So, realization means you realized how foolish you've been, everything has been right here and you didn't get it. So there are many ways, of course, most of you being from the Indian origin, I have not read this. I have to admit, I have never read the Gita because it never occurred to me. I'm sorry, I know this is a shock but you know, living in India, bits and pieces of this are always floating around in the air and it's… you know many pieces of it, but I've never really studied it in any sense. So when, in a certain moment, when Arjuna asked, what is the nature of this truth that you're talking about? Where is it? So Krishna laughed and said, the highest truth about your life is the tip of your nose. Now there are many schools of yoga intensely focusing on the tips of their noses. Please try it for 2 minutes, you will get a headache. You will not get enlightened. What he is saying is, it is the most obvious thing. It is the most obvious thing. But right now the problem is, all the instruments of perception that you have are outward bound, but the seat of your experience is within you. The fundamental seat of your experience is within you, but all the instruments of perception are outward bound. So how should I do this? You must understand, anything beyond survival, if it has to enter your life, some striving is needed. Let's say, as a little infant, you were left in the jungle without human contact. If something edible came in front of you, would you first try your ears, then nostrils, and somehow by accident find your mouth? Is that so? You would just know where to put it, isn't it? So what I'm saying is, everything that is necessary for survival is built into you. You're born with it. The five senses takes care of it. But if you want to know something more, you have to strive. For example, do you remember when you were 3, 4 or 5 years of age, you had to learn to write the alphabet. That damn A, how complicated it was. And on top of it, there were two versions. You had to write it 100 times to get it, isn't it? But today with your eyes closed, you can write. If that striving was not there, today could you write? Today would you know language? So anything beyond survival needs striving. Without the needed striving, it won't happen. There are ways to perceive the interiority of who you are, but unfortunately there's been no striving. Right now, we made this technology into such a simple, almost like a physical science. A plus B equals this, or 2 parts of hydrogen, 1 part of oxygen, water will come. If a great scientist puts it together, only water will come. An idiot puts it together, only water will come. So we made the entire Yoga Sutras like this, that if you do this, this and this will happen to you. That simple. And all I'm asking generally from people is about 30 to 32 hours of focused time to develop an instrument where they can turn inward. Oh, 30 hours is too much. I'm saying, if you cannot dedicate a little bit of time to know what this is, that means your existence must be truly worthless. If this is worthwhile, you must pay attention to this, isn't it? If you want to know life, this is life, isn't it? When I say the word life, maybe you're thinking about your profession, your family, your car, your home. No, these are all accessories. This is life, isn't it so? Hello? But no attention has been paid. Your idea of fixing life is fixing all kinds of things. This happened one day. Shankaran Pillai was going home. No, I'm not done. Shankaran Pillai was going home. It is 7:30 in the evening. The rules at home, the wife's rules are 8, he must be home. It's only 7:30, he thought there's still time, let me have a quick drink and go. He just stepped into the local bar. He had a quick drink and a quick drink and a quick drink and a quick drink and a quick drink. Then he looked at the time. It's at 2 a.m. You know, drinking people are like yogis, they become timeless. There's certain correlation. Then it's late and he got off the bar stool and tried to walk. It's such an unfair world. A man is supposed to walk on a round planet, as if that's not enough, it spins. You notice that the planet is round and it's spinning only when you had a few drops more, or a few drops are missing between your 2 ears. Either you're drunk or you have a vertigo, then you notice the planet is round and spinning. Otherwise, you think it's flat and you're going on fine. So with great difficulty, he was walking sideways and trying to find his way home. He was crossing a garden and he flipped over and fell face down into a rose bush. His face became a mess. Then he somehow reached home and you know, these keyholes are so minute, it took 20 minutes to find the keyhole. Then he found his way up to the bedroom and then he went into the bathroom and he looked at his face, it was a real mess. Then he opened the medicine cabinet, took out medicine, plaster, band-aid, fixed himself up and slowly crawled into the bed. Fortunately, the wife is a big sleeper. He slept. Morning 8 o'clock, the wife took a bucket full of cold water and splashed it on him. Water boarded, he woke up. Said, why, it's only a Sunday. She said, you fool, again drinking? He said, honey, 6 months ago I promised you, since then I haven't touched a drop. She grabbed him by the shirt and took him into the bathroom and showed him all the plaster was on the mirror. Why people have lost their clarity? Why people have lost their clarity is only because of this, that if there is any suffering here, they think this one should be fixed. If something else happens, that one should be fixed. If something else happens, that one should be fixed. Everyday morning prayer means what? Trying to fix the God. Yes, you're trying to fix up the God, isn't it? So, day in and day out, for everything that happens within you, instead of fixing this one, you're trying to fix everything around you. No wonder you'll be confused. We fixed the planet sufficiently, at least in this part of the world. If you fix it anymore, there'll be no planet left. But are people bursting with ecstasy? No. So because clarity has been lost simply because of this. If you understand, if life has to really become beautiful for you, this one has to be fixed. If you understand this one thing, clarity will dawn within you.
I actually have a question on chitta. How can you tap into chitta, which is what you said, memory with no effect and the ability to break through cycles?
Right here you want to do that? You can take one fundamental step today. That is, I want you to… Anyway, you already written down the question also, you have the habit of writing things. So you just sit down today before you go to bed, write down. What are all the different types of identities that you have taken? Starting from your body, everything else. Just write it down and see if you can create a little distance from these identifications. Just work on that. That's the first step, that you are not identified with anything. You're just here, throbbing as a piece of life, not as this or that. See, but what can I do? I'm a young woman. Right now, yes, when you sit here among people, if you're just walking by yourself in the garden, you don't really think you're a young woman, or if you are that identified, you can't help it, even there. If you just doze off a little bit, you don't sleep as a young woman, you just sleep simply as life, isn't it? I'm saying something so fundamental as your body and gender, even that identity is only on the surface. Your caste, creed, religion, race, this is even more on the surface. So I'm saying, you can't do it in the day right now, but before you go to bed, see if you can keep all your identities by the bedside table and sleep. To work in the world, you need an identity. Without identity, you cannot function in the world. So before going to sleep, take off all the identities, keep it on your bedside table, morning it'll be there, it'll not go anywhere. Leave it there and go to sleep. You've started the journey.
I would like to hear Guruji's turning point in life where he separated himself from his intellect and his inner self.
Do I like someone who lost my intellect? I didn't think that I was coming out so dumb. She's asking for a story. You want a story? Okay. one must understand it's a process that you set forth. This started happening to me when I was just around 4.5 years of age. I suddenly realized one day that I don't know anything. I don't know anything means I don't know anything at all. To such an extent, if somebody gives me a glass of water, I would not know what is water. I know if I drink this water, it'll quench my thirst and different ways of using it, I know what to do with it, but I don't know what it is. Well, actually, if you look at it, even today, you don't know what it is. It's the only substance present on the planet in all three different states. 3/4 of the planet is water, nearly 3/4 of your body is water. If you're looking for life, you look for a drop of water. There's a lot of excitement, they found a few drops on the Mars. I think people from California need to migrate. So, I'm just staring at this glass of water for hours on end. If I found a dry leaf, I'm just looking at the leaf for 5-6 hours at a stretch. If I sit up in my bed, staring at the darkness, the entire night I'm sitting like this staring. My dear father, being a physician, started thinking I need psychiatric evaluation. This boy is simply staring at something or the other, unblinking he's staring, he's lost it. My problem is, I look at this one, I still do not know this one. There is no way I'm able to shift my attention to another one. So it just held my attention, I couldn't shift. In this condition, they sent me to school. And my mother said, pay attention to the teachers. I went and paid attention to the teachers. The kind of attention that they have never received in their life. And initially I understood the words that they were speaking and what they were trying to say. After some time I realized, they're just making sounds. I'm making up the meanings in my head. Even now, as I speak, I'm only making sounds, you're making up the meanings, isn't it? Because language is a conspiracy between two people. If you have a conspiracy, what do? The Indians, you speak in your language. In India, we have this advantage, we have 1300 languages in the country, we can have lots of conspiracies going because we'll speak in our own language. Actually, I'm only making sounds, isn't it? You're making up the meanings. So when I realized I'm the one who's making up all the meanings, I stopped making the meanings, then I just heard the sounds with full attention. See, this is the problem with most people. The moment they don't understand, they think they need not pay attention. What you do not understand needs more attention than what you understand, isn't it? So as I watched teacher after teacher coming in and making noises and noises and noises and going, it became very amusing to me and a huge smile spread on my face. They were not at all amused. My schooling went like this, very consistent. Because I remember this so well. I don't know if you still have this. You still have those monthly tests and report cards that your parents have to sign and your children have to get it to you, stuff like that? So, monthly report cards come, I see in the schools, some children are strutting around because they are first or second, some are sitting and crying because they're afraid to go home with their marks card. Never once in my entire school life did I ever open and see. The teachers gave me the card, I took it and gave it to my father. I thought this is a transaction between the two of them. I had nothing to do with this. Because I was very consistent, I always got 6 zeros. because I always gave an empty paper. If they insisted, I put my name on it. Otherwise, I gave an empty paper, as a rule. When the final exam came, I wrote something and went to the next class. Otherwise, all my tests I got 0, 0, 0, 0. Because million things, I have a billion questions in my mind about everything. There is nobody around who's capable of answering these questions, but they're trying to stuff something else into you, which I'm not interested in. So, school went like this. This is about 8 years ago. This school where I studied nearly 45 years ago, they came to invite me for their 125th anniversary of the school. So the trustees, the third generation of trustees came to invite me. They said, "You must come." I said, "See, I was not just a not good student. I was not even a student, why me, You call the brilliant students of your school, why me?" They said, our school has produced union ministers, our school has produced cricketing stars, our school has produced film stars, you are the only mystic, you must come. So, okay. So I went there to speak and and I went and stood up in the quadrangle, looked around the same oppressive buildings. Then I suddenly remembered this classroom. I was about 13 years of age. One afternoon, the teacher is trying to get a response for some question he is asked. I hear the sounds, but I don't hear the words. After some time, I don't even hear the sounds, I don't even see their forms, I just see all kinds of things. I know their past, present and future, but I don't know what he's saying. I know his entire life better than him, but I don't know what he's saying. And 35–40 minutes, he desperately tried to get a response from me. But those days I'm made like this, sometimes 3 days, 4 days I don't utter a word, not because I'm in silence or something. When you don't know anything, what do you say?
So here we are exploring and expounding the glorious ways of Shiva. The only way you can grasp what's happening here in the next 7 days is the first part of Shiva's teaching was to Parvati, his wife. It was taught in a certain intimacy, in a certain closeness, certain lack of resistance from the other person. If you want to grasp this, you have to sit here like the Devi herself, otherwise that part of Shiva's ways will be totally out of reach. Shiva expounded various types of yogas, every kind. The most gentle and compassionate yoga, the most ruthless forms of yoga, both were expounded. Because with him, he has no qualms about anything. He has no morality, he has no right and wrong. For him, his body is just an instrument. Everything in the existence is just an instrument to ultimate realization. So depending upon the level of preparedness of the person who is sitting in front of him, accordingly he went. Shiva, the Adi Yogi, came to an inner state of stillness, where if he closes his eyes, he can sit like this till the end of the world. Simply he sat. Himalaya, many of you just went there and came. The mountain is personified. The king of Himalayas had a daughter whose name was Parvati. So Himalaya and Parvati came and started serving Shiva where he was sitting and meditating. After many millennia, he opened his eyes and blessed Himalaya, and then he saw Parvati. Then he told Himalaya, it is improper for you to bring a woman where there is an ascetic. You take her away. Immediately, Parvati said, why are you rejecting me? And who are you to reject me? You are the basic principle of the existence. These two are known as Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the masculine, Prakriti is the feminine. Prakriti also means nature. Purusha is the fundamental principle. Prakriti is creation. You are Purusha, but without Prakriti, there is no action in you. You are just inert. You cannot do anything by yourself unless there is Prakriti. Shiva said, I can dismiss and dissolve Prakriti right now. I created it. If I want, I will dissolve it this moment. Don't talk to me all this nonsense, you go. Then Parvati said, if you have so much power that you can dissolve Prakriti, why are you doing this asceticism? And why are you sitting in these mountains? These mountains are Prakriti, the air that you breathe is Prakriti, the sky is Prakriti, everything is Prakriti. And if you dissolve this, you will have no role to play, you will just become inert, absolute emptiness which you are. He liked the argument and the spunk in her, but he still pretended to be very angry and asked her to leave. She refused to leave. She has been performing immense austerities to become the wife of Shiva. She was completely determined and focused, her only focus was this single point agenda she was going on. Then people interfered and Shiva decided to marry her. He married, but there was no involvement. He still lived as an ascetic. She was beside him, he accepted her, but he still continued as an ascetic. How will she find fulfillment as a woman? So she was desperate to have a child. So when Shiva was not there, when she was having bath on the banks of Kanti Sarovar, where some of you happen to go this time, she took out the sandal paste that she had smeared on her body, plus a little earth, and formed a little boy out of it and infused life because she wanted to enjoy the child, because she's been cursed to be barren. And Ganapati was born. Shiva was in the mountains meditating. After about 12 years' time, he came back. By then, Ganapati has grown into a 12-year-old boy. Parvati was having bath, so she had asked Ganapati to watch out so that nobody comes this way. He was standing guard for his mother. Shiva came. He was in a certain mood, he was just walking in. After 12 years, he's walking into the house. Ganapati stopped him, said, you cannot enter. He asked, who are you? He said, it doesn't matter who I am, you cannot enter. Shiva just took his axe out and chopped his head off. So the boy fell dead. And Parvati came from a bath and saw her son dismembered. She just went into such sorrow and angry with Shiva, she said, you have to do something. Then he just came home and he killed his own son and now his wife is angry, you know. Lot of trouble. Then he sent out his ganas, go out into the mountains. The first animal that you see, behead the animal, bring the head. I will resurrect this boy once again. So the first animal they saw was a baby elephant. So they chopped the head of the elephant, brought it Shiva brought him back to life with an elephant head. So you see Ganapati with an elephant head.
गणपतिं त्वा गणाना त्वा गणपतिम्.
And when he saw Parvati's plight, desperately trying to fulfill herself through normal processes of life, Shiva, out of his compassion, said, "This is not the way for fulfillment." And then the yoga started. He started teaching the methods of self-realization to Parvati, saying that having children, bearing children is not going to really lead you to fulfillment. Here is the way, and he opened up the possibility of yoga. When we say ways of yoga, we are looking at getting mastery over the fundamental processes of life, the very process of creation and dissolution, in great detail and in such gentle ways. Shiva went about expounding the ways of yoga to Devi. The sutras, the Yoga Sutras of Shiva are such that almost in every sutra, he refers to her as the resplendent one, the gracious one, the beautiful one. So you need to understand that this teaching transpired between two people with utmost intimacy. Intimacy should not be understood as sexuality. Intimacy means there is no resistance. There is no need to fight through this person. This person is absolutely open to whatever is being offered. So it in such a state that these sutras were offered. So, the sutras will be so subtle, so gentle. A thinking mind, an arguing mind will wonder, will such a thing work? But it worked miraculously for her, and she became fully realized. Here, if we have to expound yoga in Shiva's ways, you have to really sit in my lap, absolutely no resistance. Either you have to sit here like a Devi, or you have to sit here as a child. If you can't do this too, you just have to enjoy the party. We'll make sure the party is good. Shiva repeatedly referred to Devi as the resplendent one. So, you must be that way. You must dress that way, you must be that way so that I can refer to you that way, okay?
नागेन्द्रहाराय त्रिलोचनाय भस्माङ्गरागाय महेश्वराय नित्याय शुद्धाय दिगम्बराय तस्मै नकाराय नमः शिवाय तस्मै नकाराय Namah Shivaya.
When we say Shiva's teachings, we need to understand that we are not talking in terms of philosophies or ideas. These are purely methods. They're just methods to get a person moving from one state of consciousness to another. There is no teaching involved. There is no philosophy involved. Shiva is not a philosopher, he's a yogi. When I say he's not a philosopher, see, it's very easy to be philosophical. In fact, the less you know, the more the chances that you will become philosophical. It's very easy to become a philosopher. You just have to read a couple of books and misunderstand them. You can become a philosopher. The reason why you're talking about something that is written in a book is because you have not perceived, grasped life in any depth. If you had even read a single page of this vast existence, all your life you would be talking only that. There wouldn't be time to talk about anything else. So Shiva is a yogi, purely existential, not philosophical, not intellectual. This is not something that you can understand. This is not something that you have to be convinced about. This is not something that you have to agree with. This is something that you learn to relate with. If you can relate to it and experiment with it will do miraculous things for you. You could become as blissful as Devi became, that she just went mad as a March hare and romped about the mountains for many millennia. We'll curtail the time for you, but we got the mountains, we got the madness, we got everything. As he started expounding the various dimensions of yoga, Devi took on various forms. She became love, she became compassion, she became anger, she became fury, she became deadly, she became very pleasant, she became unpleasant, she took on every kind of form that could happen within the human consciousness. As she took on these forms, they went from the subtle to the more and more intense kind of forms. As Devi took on various forms, the seasons changed, the atmosphere in the world changed, because she is the Shakti, the basic energy behind the existence. As she went into many phases of her consciousness, everything around changed. And then he brought her to a state to make her realize all this is just a play of energy. She is none of these things. What she is beyond all these forms that she can take. And to harness that energy and make it happen the way it should happen is the science of yoga. And the explosion of yoga started. Shiva said, what you went through right now is just a play of your energy, this is not you. Then Devi asked, how do I realize that this is not me? Then Shiva gave her a simple process.
Sada vasantam, sada vasantam, sada vasantam.
The dancer who is here, her name is Anita Ratnam, probably most of you already know. She is one of the foremost exponents of fusion kind of Bharatanatyam. She is internationally acclaimed artist. She's performed almost every part of the world. So, she will be doing the Nada Radhana. This is a part of the Indian temple culture, that is, the puja or the worship was not just verbal. So people learn to use their whole body as a form of worship. Many of you're practicing Surya Namaskar, which is a form of worship, using the entire body to get into your worshipful activity within you. Similarly, dance also was used as a form of worship and as a form of involvement.
You said, until you explode, I'm not your guru, I'm just your friend. Now I'm troubled. I want a guru. I've got a few friends already, but I want a guru. So here I am to explode. Please explode me.
So, I want you to understand, you're sufficiently packed with explosives, every one of you. Only thing is, some of you have kept it so damp it doesn't light up, or some of you don't know where the fuse is. So, I can easily light it up. If you're damp, we can dry you. The weather's cloudy, it is not assisting, but I can dry you up and light you up. You just have to allow it. So right now, you don't know how to allow. If I say, allow me to do it, haven't I allowing you? I came for the program, I'm sitting here, what else am I supposed to do? So you don't know what it means to allow. So right now I'm telling you, just be involved. Absolutely. Involvement does not mean Shiva. That's not involvement. You just go, simply go. Total involvement. Like this is the last thing that you're going to do in your life. Like that you must do everything. Every breath, every step, every word, every act. You must do it like this is the last thing you're going to do in your life. With that involvement if you do, I'll explode you. Because you're packed with explosives, every one of you. I don't have to, put any explosives into you, you are sufficiently packed. But damp or hiding the fuse. You don't know where the fuse is, you don't know how to light, you don't have a matchstick. I have all the fire you want. If you just show some involvement, we will explode you.
As the story goes, Brahma, as he often does, granted the boon of invincibility to Mahisha, a powerful, ambitious asura. Except Brahma said, I can't give you immortality. So Mahisha thinks and says, make me invincible to any god and any man except a woman. And so when Mahisha begins his reign of terror, Shiva and Vishnu congregate. They not just chastise Brahma, but they also say to themselves, our wives are really too gentle to take on this brute. So we have to create a new divinity, a mighty force whose energy will be as swift as an arrow, unafraid, who will rush forth to shatter any obstacle. She will be the best of us, Shiva says. And so is created Durga. Tonight's presentation is called Andari, one of the many names that Durga is given, another being Ishvari, the wife of Isha, Shiva. The first scene in Andari describes the goddess as world mother, and as in one of the old epics, she is described as a giant female spider who spins the world as her web from her body. The world is created and she watches with great joy at her creation. But then slowly the dark forces prevail. She is called upon to be reborn in a terrible, aggressive, powerful form as Durga. In the great battle that lasts for 10 days and 10 nights, Mahisha is ensnared and victory. The goddess is led in a great procession to the ocean where she is immersed and everybody waits for her return into their homes the next year. But at the end of Andari, Durga is so disgusted with the greed of humanity that, like a female spider who not only spins a web but can consume it and destroy what she has created, she decides it's time to completely annihilate everything in order for the world to be created again. All that is remaining is a lamp which symbolizes hope, a pregnant woman in whose womb is an unborn female child that she carries and hangs around one ear like her earring to show her compassion.
Now that Anita gave us a fantastic display of Durga, I think we should say something about Linga Bhairavi. A fiercer aspect of the Devi in the form of Linga Bhairavi will be consecrated here as a part of the Dhyanalinga temple. It will involve various aspects, it'll be a completely different kind of consecration and a different kind of space and energy. So, this temple will be coming at the southernmost corner of… southwestern corner of the main temple, the parikrama that's coming up. Maybe many of you will have the opportunity to witness the consecration.
Sadhguru, I was just wondering that in the stories that you tell us about Kartikeya and the elephant god, or what is depicted in the dance, what is the spiritual message, or should we just hear it as a story, or there's something deeper?
When Parvati… I'm telling you another story. When Parvati asked Shiva of the spiritual significance of many of his actions, I can understand this, you're meditating, I can understand, okay, that is a spiritual thing. But now you're dancing, now you're hunting, now you're drinking, now you're smoking. What is the spiritual significance of all this? And you have all kinds of distorted and demented beings around you. What is the spiritual significance of all these people? I don't see any spirituality in them. Why do you have them around you? So Shiva said, there is nothing in the existence which is not spiritual. Everything is spiritual, unrealized. Now, all the methods that we're talking about, whether it is a story or a joke or a meditation or a process that we're doing, it is just to bring it into your awareness. What is it that you're clinging to? What is it that you have to… what is it that's obstructing you? You just have to look at those things. Don't try to understand where to go. You don't know where to go. What is it that is stopping you? You just have to understand the obstacles. Don't try to understand the root of life, because it's not a dimension to be understood. But you can become that. Now, one important aspect of your life which doesn't allow you to live your life in total intensity, which doesn't allow this energy to burst forth with great exuberance is self-preservation. Self-preservation means constantly battling against death. Yes? The instinct of self-preservation means constantly battling against death. Or in other words, it is the presence of death constantly there, every moment of your life, whether you're conscious of it or not conscious of it. Every moment, the presence of death is there, which makes you restrained about everything. If death was not there, as it's been removed for you for these 7 days, if death was not there, you would do so many things, isn't it? You wouldn't hesitate for anything. You would jump off the mountain if you felt like it. So, tomorrow, the whole day we will spend on death. I want you intensely involved with this. I'm talking about it today so that you're prepared for it, you don't resist it. I have already given you the guarantee. 7 days, you're guaranteed. So, tomorrow you must make a huge effort to die. Keeping you alive is my business, okay? The greatest calamity of the human mind is that it is against death. Because the moment you reject death, you also reject life. Either we can refer to this process that you're right now going through as life, or we can refer to this process as death. It is happening. One day it is going to be complete. But the very word death has brought so much fear into people simply because of a complete misunderstanding about the very nature of what it is. The way most people have treated their body, suppose somebody offers you a deal, you drop this old body, we'll give you a new body. Won't you make the deal? You'll make the deal, isn't it? So, you're not afraid of losing the body, that's not the issue. It is the personality, it is your ego which is so afraid of losing itself. Where is your ego located? It's in every part of your body. I'm talking the physical geography of the ego. It's everywhere, but its main location is in the face. So right now, we want to deface you a little bit. For today,
You should not be able to look at your face, nor should anybody be able to look at your face. For that we have a device. You should become faceless. Once your ego is not a problem, then you will see death is not a problem. It's very simple. Death is a cosmic joke. If you get the joke, when you fall on the other side, it'll be wonderful. If you don't get the joke, if you're here, you fear the other side. When the other side comes, you just don't know what it's about. So today it's an attempt to bring you to an experience where you grasp the cosmic joke, where death becomes a laughing matter in your life. Here we will go through a certain process where you have the opportunity to go through the process of death, of course with the guarantee that I have already given you. So do not miss this opportunity, because now I am giving you the guarantee. You can die and you'll be back in a few minutes. So do not resist it, do not miss the opportunity. Once you know the relaxation of death, then life becomes an utterly effortless process. Death is the creation of the ignorant. Death is the creation of the unaware. If you're aware, it's life, life and life alone. Shiva is a god who should not be named, because to name him is to limit and curtail him. At the same time, the son of his many, many names also bring out the indescribable mystery of who he is, or indescribable mysteries of what this creation is. Of his various forms, Kala or Mahakala is an important, at the same time a fierce form. As Mahakala, he is the lord of time. As Kala Bhairava, he is the destroyer of time. When we talk about transcendence, when we talk about spirituality, yoga, we are seeing how to go beyond the limitations of time and space. Because time and space belongs to the physical plane of the existence. Once you aspire to be spiritual, what it means is you're aspiring to be something more than the physical. Once you're something more than the physical, that means you're aspiring to be beyond the limitations of time and space. It is only the foolish, it is only the ignorant who will try to stop the process of death. The aware, the enlightened, are seeing how to make death into a tremendous opportunity to move from one dimension to another. Anyway, nature is releasing you from the physical. If you do it with the right sense of awareness, that could become your ultimate liberation too.
Here today, Santosh will present a ceremony. Hands please on Mahakai.
We appreciate you being part of this incredible journey. Keep exploring our channel for more inspiration and transformative insights.
The brazen doors replied in turn and called the Dark Lord forth to fight with a rage that none could spurn. Under blackened skies they clash in fire, a dance of steel, a test of wills. In every blow, a hero's pyre, as blood meets stone, the earth stands still. The hammer fell from heights, a force of doom and boundless hate. But Fingolfin, swift as a striking hawk, evaded death, defied his fate. His silver mail and crystal shield, they glimmered bright against the dark, like a lone star's defiant light, a guide through shadows cold and stark. With every swing of Ringo's blade, the giant trembled, strength unmade, by a king who dared to stand alone, who knew the weight of choices made. 7 wounds he dealt that night, 7 cries rang out in pain, as Angvan's hosts looked on in fright. They fell to earth like sudden rain. The ground, a blackened skies, they clash in fire, a dance of steel, a test of wills. In every blow, a hero's pyre, as blood meets stone, the earth stands still. The ground gave way to pits of grief, beneath Morgoth's iron tread, yet still the elven king